But yeah, really, really excited. New month just started, and I get to announce quite honestly what I believe to be the most significant advancement we've made as a company since our inception. So what I plan to do is talk a little bit about how we got to the point that we are now, what we've come to learn, how it sort of drives and is gotten us to iterate to the point to where we are now, and then I'll go through all of that rant, and then once we're done with all of that, we can get into Q&A. You can ask questions as it's rolling along. If you are watching this thing on Instagram and you want to stay watching it on Instagram, great. If you prefer to join the Zoom, you can do that too by just leaving a comment on Instagram, Zoom, and it'll send you the link to the session, and you can come in and you can join. But we've been at this as a business, Art Storefronts, for like essentially 10 years now, and a little bit under 10 years, and it's been like a crazy evolution. And at the top of it, the thing that's just, a truth of the whole thing, which is hard not to take cynically, I understand, but turns out the more successful our customers are, the more successful we are as a business. Because you guys go and tell all your friends, hey, I'm having this great experience on Art Storefronts. It's amazing. You might want to come check these guys out. And that's a far more effective way to market a business than there is anything else. And of course, we've not been perfect. It's a very, very difficult problem to solve. How do you take artists and photographers that have raw talent but have no idea how to market themselves, and how do you get them so they have a business that's actually growing year after year after year and is on the right path, right? Not an easy task. And so we started out very early in sort of our development, and we said, hey, we know that all artists and photographers need to be selling directly. They need to be selling directly so that they know who their customers are. When they know who their customers are, they can actually market to those folks. And if they can market to those folks in perpetuity, that is how you can potentially turn fans, followers, emails into new customers, customers into repeat customers, and then ideally, the holy grail of this business, repeat customers into collectors. And collectors are anyone that purchase, call it, in upwards of 7 or 8 pieces of work from you over the course of a lifetime. And I stole that. Where's this book? My children are constantly moving my props around, and I don't know where it is. Anyway, if I could find it, I would show Weiland's book. What Weiland, the whale guy, is one that defines a collector as anyone that purchases an upward of 7 pieces of work from him in a year. It is the lifeblood of any art or photography business, is getting collectors. Collectors constitute what I would call the base salary of any business. You keep creating, you keep marketing, you automatically get paid via the work that these folks purchase on a yearly basis. So it's a huge thing. So we started out with the website. And we created the best website to sell art and photography. I still believe that we have that. The most bells, most whistles, most features. Okay, great. Problem is, none of you guys have a website problem, okay? All you have now after you have this website is a fancy website with no one coming to it, right? Because the bigger problem is marketing. How are you going to get eyeballs to come to see your art and eventually purchase it? So we started out, best website solution possible, right? And is that going to create successful customers? No. We have to solve the marketing problem. So then the next step in our evolution was we're going to create the best do-it-yourself, learn-at-your-own-pace marketing education that exists. How to run a sale, how to price your artwork, how to run a discount, how to go live on Instagram, how to go live on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, something I'm doing now. And our customers will just read that and they'll have great businesses, right? Well, no, wrong, as it turns out, because nobody wants to learn on their own and take courses, and online courses, essentially what they are, and learn how to grow a business, and it's just going to work out that way. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody likes learning in a vacuum. So that wasn't enough. So then the next iteration was, you know what we'll do? We're going to just turn ourselves into a college, and we're going to have in-person classes on a weekly basis on all the various different things that we want folks to do. And so we started having Zoom sessions, no different than the one that you're on now, where everyone's in on Zoom and we're teaching how to do the thing. Valentine's Day is coming up. Here's the Valentine's Day sale that you're going to run. Here are the steps. Here's the email you send. Here's the Instagram. Here's the discount. Here's how to start the sale, tease the sale, end the sale, all the different things that you need to do. And that was a great step up. And that's helped out tremendously, because it turns out there's accountability, there's support, there's encouragement, there's community when you're all in a Zoom with a bunch of your peers and everyone's going to be running the same sell and to try and sell more of their art or photography. Okay, fine. Fantastic. That's going to create successful customers, right? And it certainly helped, but even that's not enough. And then we realized, okay, we actually have to support these folks. And what does that mean? It turns out all of you guys are solopreneurs. You don't have an entire office or an entire team, aside from your significant other in most cases, helping you do this, helping you grow this business, helping you when you're discouraged, right? Like, being an entrepreneur is the emotional roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs. And if you don't have people to help you out in the downs, to encourage you, to motivate you, to keep you accountable, you end up quitting. And that's what all artists and photographers do. They go, this is going to be my year. I've had this passion my entire life to make this thing a business. I want it to contribute income. I want it to be income in my retirement. I want to make more money than I've ever made at this. And then what do? This is going to be my year. I'm going to do it. And cue treating my business and marketing like a New Year's resolution. And you're going to sign up for that gym membership in January, and you're going to be going 4 days a week. You're really excited about it. And then March comes around and you haven't been once, right? Because it's hard to keep going to the gym. It's hard to go day after day after day. And that's how all artists and photographers, unfortunately, treat their marketing. And it is the #1 reason that most people stick in hobby zone and don't have a business that's growing year after year after year. So we realized that, and we created this support umbrella that we call, right? And it's everything that you would think. It's tech support and chat and tickets and phone calls and videos and that's awesome. But the more important aspects of it is literally the encouragement, the accountability. Like, hey, James, you haven't posted anything on social. You haven't sent any emails all month. What are you doing? Why aren't you getting the job done, right? It's that type of encouragement. It's a little good-natured harassment from time to time, right? Where like I'm screaming and yelling at you in a very lighthearted way. Why aren't you getting this done? Occasionally, I have to resort to bribery. We're not above that either. We have certain ways of doing that, but all of that is to keep you moving forward, to keep you taking positive steps in your business, right? And if I was to ask, I can't see anyone on Instagram, but if I was to ask everyone on this Zoom, if there was a business out there in which you just created the art and someone else took care of all of the business and marketing for you, how many of you would raise your hand to sign up for that? 100% of you. Everyone would, because that's everyone's dream. I just want to create, and I don't want to do any of the other stuff, and I want to have an incredible business. That particular scenario is La La Land. That is a fairy tale. It has not existed. It never will exist. It does not exist. You still have to do the work. If it was easy, everyone in the world would be an artist or a photographer, right? But that's okay. So what we've realized ultimately is that the hardest thing for you guys to learn is marketing. That's never, ever, ever going to change. And independent of having the insights and having the technical chops and having the wherewithal to actually know when to market and how to market and what to do, how to run sales and how to do pricing and how to have a proper lineup and how to run a live art show and how to do regular social media marketing and email marketing, even if you know how to do all of that and you have the technical chops of doing all that, doing it consistently is the whole ballgame. No one ever does it consistently, by which I mean no one. Even my most successful customers that have gotten to where they are by being incredible, they're not doing everything that they could do. And it is the single solitary, most impactful thing that you could prescribe to an artist or a photographer saying, hey, do you want to grow your business? Like, what's the one thing that I could recommend to someone that's been doing this for a long time and has 8,000 customers? What's the one thing that I could recommend? Doing it consistently year after year after year after year and never stopping. No one wants to hear that, right? Because it takes hard work. It's like going to the gym when it's freezing cold outside and maybe you had a big night out on the town or your kids were up, kept you up all night, whatever it is, and you just don't go, right? That situation happens more than anything else because you guys have lives. And you have significant others and families, and there's illness, and there's this, and there's that, and the dog is sick, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to stay consistent. And what I've come to realize in this business more than anything else, and I always use the same analogy, is all of us, every single solitary person on this Zoom call, on Instagram, my entire marketing team at Art Storefronts, we're all just fishermen at the end of the day. And our business is to catch fish, right? And what is catching fish? For you guys, it's drawing people into your ecosystem and eventually selling a piece of art. For us, it's drawing people into our ecosystem and trying to sell Art Storefronts, right? And what it comes down to, especially in today's digital world where attention is fragmented and everyone is distracted all the time, and cat videos and emails and text messages and TikTok and Instagram and all the rest of it, is every one of us needs to get up in the morning, go down to the harbor, get on the boat, drive the boat out to the fishing grounds, and get a line in the water and get our nets in the water. And whether or not we're successful, you guys as the creatives that you are, us as a business, comes down to how many hours we're fishing on the water. That's it. Because you don't ever know. I don't ever know. No one ever knows when the fish are going to be at the surface, when you can actually catch a fish and make a sale, right? Get someone's email address. And it literally is just a numbers game. And that's where the consistency comes in. If I didn't send an email earlier this morning and it didn't just so happen that you had the time today to come on to this session, you never would have seen that email. You never would have come on. And it is no different than the folks that are watching on Instagram. If I didn't just go live right now and start talking when you were sitting at a doctor's office or on your phone on your lunch break or sitting on the couch or doing whatever you're doing, then I never would have got your attention. And so it is just a simple numbers game. And I say that, and it is intimidating. And I totally understand that. You're like, I hate marketing. I don't enjoy it. I don't understand Instagram. I don't understand Facebook. I don't understand email. I don't want to do it. And that's the battle that we're fighting as a business at Art Storefronts. If our job is to make you guys as customers as successful as we can, it comes down to the consistency. And the reality is what we've learned at 8.5 years is you will never be as consistent as I want you to be. It's just a matter of when the fish are at the surface. That's it. And a lot of times, all the time, whether you catch that fish or not is just whether or not you have that line in that water at that moment, right? So let's say Friday rolls along and I'm like, guys, we're all going to run a flash sale on Friday, right? That's what we're going to do. We're going to run a flash sale. Well, why am I running a flash sale? I'm not ready to run a flash sale. I don't want to run a flash sale. No, you do. You need to. We're going to be running a flash sale, so let's do this. And some of you will participate, and some of you will be like, no, you don't understand. I've got a road trip. It's my daughter's graduation. I've got to take the dog somewhere. Whatever the excuse is, and the sale doesn't get run, and that opportunity was missed out on, and as a result, the sales were not made. And so the history of this business at Art Storefronts has been just tap dancing and dancing around the real issue, right? Treating the symptoms instead of going after the illness. And the illness is, in this case, is not marketing consistently enough. It's just not marketing consistently enough. And so our newest feature, what we're calling Copilot, is starting to take some of this marketing activity that you are never going to end up doing as consistently as we will and starting to just do it for you. And the analogy of Copilot is extremely, extremely apt because the danger in me saying what I'm about to say here is you guys in your head hearing, if I sign up, I don't have to do any marketing anymore. They're going to do all the marketing. This is fantastic. Oh my gosh, sign me up right now. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And the danger in that is you are the pilot. We are the co-pilot, okay? You still have to fly the plane. I'm just telling you, we are going to be sat right next to you, setting the GPS coordinates and going and dealing with that unruly child in aisle 4, right? And coming back and making sure you have a coffee and doing all of the things, taking all of the things off of your plate that we can do as a business such that you can work on the things that are impactful. Creating the art, yes, marketing the art, and selling the art. And we've realized as a business, treating the symptoms instead of trying to cure the disease, the more that we can take of these delegatable tasks off your hands, the better. The better. That's it, because it just frees you up. And as it turns out, when you're marketing, there are a whole bunch of tasks that your input is just not required in. Various different social media updates, how to compose the captions, what images to contemplate using, what time to post at, what hashtags to use, how do you stagger the Facebook post with the Instagram post and the email, what is the rhythm of all of those, how many different updates can you do in a day? And there is a number of these things that we have now written software for that is going to take these things off your plate. And we are just going to do them, okay? We are just going to do them for you. And that is now a part of our plans when you sign up. We are calling the feature Copilot. It is in its early days. I believe in this first iteration, we're doing something like 30 posts a month for you, and it's just going to keep growing and going and going. If I rewind back the history of this company over the last 6 months when we finally really started to catch our stride, year 7, year 8, or maybe I guess we're year 9, what have we done in the last 3 months as a business? One, we realized that none of you guys want to be web programmers. None of you want to talk to GoDaddy, HTML, CSS, update, build a website. None of you want to do that. None of you want to search forums. None of you want to get on tech support with someone with an extremely thick accent that you have a real difficulty in hearing. None of you want to deal with that. And I get that. We understand that. So what have we started to do? You sign up with us now and nobody builds the website anymore. We build it for you. Why? Because that is something that you don't have to do. If I take that time and I give it back to you, that is now time that you can invest in the creating, in the marketing, in the selling of your work, okay? That is fundamental. What do we go from there? The next big feature that we did, not only do you not need to build the website, we'll build it for you. You don't ever need to update it again for life. We'll do it. You tell us, we'll do it. We're web programmers, you are not, we'll get it done. You need to put in a new series, change a page, update the language, whatever the case may be, we're gonna do that for you automatically. So in the last 6 months, we've gone from being a normal website company where it's like, hey, great, you sign up for a website, build it and have fun with it. No. Now we're building it. And then when you need to update it and change it in the future, we're doing that too, because it's not a good use of your time. We can delegate those tasks. And so Copilot is just the next iteration of this, right? It's the next iteration where there is a large chunk of your marketing that we can now take off your plate because you don't need to be doing it. We can do it for you. And it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. I mean, on Friday, I had a customer, a longtime customer, good friend, lives in Mexico. He was actually driving from Houston back to Mexico with his family. And we ran a flash sale for him on Friday. I didn't even tell him until it was already running. And he, you know what? It was a quick flash sale on a Friday. It had an Instagram post, it had a Facebook post, and an email. He ended up getting 7 orders for $571 in revenue. The average order value was $81. It was 4 new customers, 3 returning. The average order value of the new customers was $106.70. And that's phenomenal. He didn't even have to lift a finger. He didn't even have to do anything. He didn't have to put in the discount code. He didn't have to do the post on social. He didn't have to send the email. He didn't even have to sign off on any of it. We have a long-standing relationship, so I know his voice and everything else. But I was able to do that with software and with the knowledge that I have about marketing without him lifting a finger. And as a result of that, I mean, it's $570 worth of revenue and an average order value of $81. He's not going to get rich off of that. It's not going to fundamentally change his business. But what's going to happen when instead of him doing that 3 times a year, we're doing that 50 times a year? What's going to change in his business? Absolutely everything is going to change, because what's going to end up happening is he is going to acquire more new customers than he ever did before. And if he is doing that more than he ever did before, those customers are going to come back and buy again. Some of them are going to end up turning into collectors, and that's the whole ballgame, right? And I break everything down. Especially, I'm on this terror this year about how many customers did you guys acquire last year? Like, you know, I said we've been at this almost for a decade. A lot of our customers have been with us for 5 years, and I've got to see the evolution of their business and got to see the ones that have really, really, really grown. And as we look at your business, and we know that all of you guys are in this for life, photographers, artists, creatives, don't switch off. You're going to be doing this for the rest of your life. It's a blessing. It's a gift that this particular industry works this way. This whole ballgame comes down to how many customers you acquire per year, stretched out over the years and decades to come. Because the easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. And the phenomenon that underpins this business is this notion of collectors, right? And I logged into this gentleman that I ran the sales campaign on Friday, and I looked at every single solitary customer that purchased, and we have this like back-end database, and so I'm able to see, sure enough, in there was somebody in there that was their 11th order on Friday. So he'd ordered 10 times from him. That was a collector. That collector, okay, just so happened to be a fish at the surface on Friday afternoon, right when we posted. And he saw that and he purchased. And the only reason that sale happened is because the marketing got done. That's it. The marketing got done. So I believe what we've released here, Copilot, and how this product evolves and the iterations that happen, what we're able to do in terms of software is going to fundamentally change the arc of what our customers' business looks like. They are going to acquire more fans, more followers, more email addresses, run more sales, and ultimately acquire more new customers, get the collectors to come back and purchase again and again and again. And it is going to give them the time that they need back to go and create these other things. And you will just never be as consistent as we will. You just won't. You just won't. It's impossible to be. No one is that consistent. And that's the ballgame. It's the consistency that you do regular marketing, because whether or not you get the fan, the follower, the email, the first time sale, the repeat sale, or a collector sale, it all comes down to whether or not you're fishing, whether or not your boat is on the water. And that's it. That's the entire ballgame. And that's it. That stretched out over years and years and years is the difference whether or not your business is successful or not. So that's it. That's our new feature. That's my rant, and I'm extremely, extremely excited about it. So I'll turn it into Q&A. I'm going to end the Instagram stream. Guys, thanks for listening. If you want to join the Zoom, you can just leave a comment on this thing with the word Zoom, and I will send you the link. Thanks. Even that is like super difficult, streaming on Instagram at the same time that you're streaming on Facebook, at the same time you're streaming on Twitter. But these are exactly the things that you need us figuring out on your behalf, right? Exactly the things that you need. So what I'll do is I'll open it up to Q&A. You can ask anything about anything. How does Q&A work? If you are one of the brave ones that has your camera on and you have a question, all you have to do is raise your hand and I'll see that. I can unmute you, bring you on. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on, okay? I hate being on video, face for radio, but this is my job. So you can ask that way. You can also throw your questions into the chat. I see those. There's like a little chat box at the bottom, so people are in there leaving comments. I normally prioritize the in-person questions, and then I'll get to the chat too, but I will get to all of those. And ordinarily, I can see the questions on Facebook and YouTube, but for some reason, something's broken and I cannot see it, and I don't know why. But that's okay. Who wants to start us off with a question? I need a brave one. See, James, that's what I'm talking about. All it takes is one brave one. Thank you, James. If you unmute, you can go ahead. I'll let you know when you get it. Where did James go? I lost him. So, yeah, you just need to hit the mic icon. James is in the bottom left-hand corner. Cute dog, by the way, Annie.
There we go.
Yep, gotcha.
There, yeah. I'm a sculptor, and
Okay.
I'm wondering how this program would work for me, because it seems to me, from everything I've read so far, this is targeted toward two-dimensional art.
Yep.
How can this be helpful for me?
Yeah, so the website has a suite of features that is primarily focused on selling wall art. There's no two ways about that. But the website is also just an e-commerce store like all the rest of them, right? Now, sadly, there's not a platform out there that I'm aware of that utterly, totally, and completely caters to sculpture just yet, right? And maybe in one day there will be. But you can absolutely sell sculpture on ours. We have a ton of people selling sculpture on ours. I find that the sculpture business is a little bit different in the wall art business in the sense that, you know, case in point with this gentleman I ran the sale with on Friday, those people were able to purchase without having to talk to the artist, without having to do anything, just going online. If I studied 60 sculpture transactions, 59 of those, they want to talk to the artist before they purchase it, right? And that's just how it goes. And so you have to structure your business a little bit differently. And so that part changes. What doesn't change is all the marketing that you need to do, same as everyone else. And until that marketing gets done, you're not going to have more eyeballs on your sculpture. So the sculpture business presents some difficulties in that capacity, but it also presents some upsides in the sense that, you know, your pieces usually sell for quite a bit more than, you know, the traditional artist and wall art, at least more often than not. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I work primarily from commissions.
Yeah.
And I do everything from gallery-sized pieces to public art.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like this might be a difficult thing for me to get into.
Well, it's the difficult thing is the same difficult thing for everyone else on here, which is just you have to solve the marketing problem, right?
Right.
And that's what we help you do. And so what will be a little bit different is your sales process will always be a little bit different, but the marketing. And
I can't turn out multiples of what I do. I don't do that.
Right.
So,
and that's okay. That's a particular of your business, right? But, you know, you still have to do the marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks,
James. All right, go ahead, Megan. You'll have to unmute, Megan. You're on your phone, so it's probably a little mute button down there somewhere. You'll find it. I'll let you know when you get it. She's fidgeting with it. She'll figure it out. I'm going to try one more time to unmute you. It's usually like in the bottom left-hand corner of the phone. Yep, got it. Oh, boo. So you have it unmuted, but I can't hear you, which means, like, are you connected to Bluetooth or is there something going on there? Now I got you.
Can you hear?
Yep. Now
you
I got
me?
you. Yep.
Okay.
By the way, before you start, do you have any weird relatives in Southern California?
No,
No.
I'm in Canada.
Okay. Okay. One of my best friends from high
Um,
school is Carter Weir. So there you go.
oh,
Yeah.
how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I think that this is fabulous. I've really enjoyed what like Art Storefronts has to offer,
Awesome.
and I'm just excited about taking it to the next level. And I was wondering, I haven't looked at it. I just found out about this.
Mm-hmm.
How much is it a month for this
Yeah.
service?
Yeah. So how we sort of structure things and do things is like, and why it's hard to compare us to everyone else is, yes, you get a website and all those bells and print on demand and all of that. Fantastic. And yes, there's a monthly fee for that. Yes, you also essentially are paying to get into a university because that's what it is. Like, we're going to be teaching you for the rest of your natural born life. University with no graduates. And so we charge a one-time fee for the university and the army of people that are going to support you for the rest of your life, and then a monthly fee for the website. And I believe our lowest plan now is like, and don't hold it directly to me because I think they just raised the prices, is like $1,500-$1,600 one-time fee, and then either $39, $49, or $59 a month, depending. And so that's what it costs.
So I'm already a member. I've been one for just about a year now, but for the
you're just after you're after the Copilot thing.
Copilot.
Yeah. So I think we're going to announce it to everyone internally in like a week or 2 weeks. We're gonna have like a big summit, and then we'll explain all of it. But yeah, trust me, we're rolling it to all you guys too.
Okay.
I know, it's exciting.
That's awesome. I think that's such a great idea.
I know.
I live out in the middle of nowhere, and so for somebody to delegate for me something would be awesome. And I try really hard to learn, but I know. I can't cover it all.
I know. And Megan, no one can. No one can. Like,
right.
I realize, like, especially on that whole like fish at the surface analogy that I give, that is the entire ballgame. It's the entire ballgame, and all of us have lives and our kids and our families and our this and our that, and like, you'll never be able to be consistent. And so now we look at it and we're like, number one, the reason that we can do this is because none of you guys are in competition with one another, which is amazing, right? Like, if you were all fast food restaurants in like similar towns, then, one person gets a meal, the other one doesn't, right? But the way that it works with artists is like, ooh, I like this artist. I like their creativity. I'm going to follow what they do for a little while. I'm going to buy from them. You're not competing against anyone. And so we can essentially craft these messages in a couple of different tones that works for literally everyone. And that's just amazing, right? Like, amazing.
Totally.
And as we've been talking it through, I don't know of another company that does this, period, in any industry. Like, I've never even heard of it. And so we feel like we're really onto something like super groundbreaking, and I'm fired up about it. So yes, you will hear about it in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yeah. Thanks, Megan. Drive safe.
Have a nice day.
You
Bye.
too. Isn't Zoom just so amazing that you can just like pop into all these little worlds and just like have a conversation? She's in the car. I can hear kids in there. The whole thing. Just awesome. Okay, Joey, you're up. Go ahead. And then I see the questions in the chat. Don't worry, I'll get to them.
Patrick, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So what if we already have a website? I've had a website on Wix that I built, and it took me like
I know this story. I know this story. You're like,
do I have to give that all up now?
I can't get rid of it. I'm so invested in it. I'm going to say it to you a couple different ways. No, you don't have to give it up, but you wouldn't be here if the website was doing anything for you. It's not doing anything for you. And
can I just give you control over it?
No,
do I now have to like totally stop doing Wix and then you take over?
Yeah, so I mean, given that we're going to build the whole website, the new one for you, and you're not going to even have to lift a finger, all you have to do is just give us a folder with your images and we do the rest. So it's not like you ever have to build another website again. But the reality is that like the technology on the back end of our website is so integrated into everything that you'd be missing out on that if you had the Wix site, and so you wouldn't be getting the full ROI of your investment.
Okay, got you.
But I feel your pain, brother. I know when it's like, it's just, but case in point, like, Joey, imagine where your career would be if all of the time, energy, effort, headaches, stress, and creativity that you put into building that thing instead went into creating the art and marketing the art. You'd be significantly better place. Like, the website thing is just such a trap because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter until you fix the marketing problem, right? And everyone wants to fix the store first before there's anyone even in it. And it's like, no. You get people in it, and then you upgrade the store as it goes along. But it's just a bummer of this particular industry. That's what I would say, because you're not alone. Like, I talk to hundreds of artists a week, and the sheer number of spent so many hours trying to figure out and then get it the way they want, and then it's like defeating, utterly defeating when you get to the end of it. So I feel your pain.
Thanks, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks, Joey. Okay, guys, who else? Oh, I forgot to tell you guys how to raise your hand digitally speaking. So if you look at the bottom of the Zoom window, you can see if I mouse over this little reactions thing and I click it, there's a way to raise your hand digitally speaking that lets me know that you have a question, and I can call on you. So that's how it goes. But I can also deal with the questions in the chat if anyone else has one. Okay, Francis is going, and then I'll get into the chat. Go ahead, Francis. And you'll need to unmute. I'll let you know when you get it. Mic icon. Yep, you got it.
Okay. 2 questions.
Yes.
What are the actual steps for you to set up a website, and do you have any samples that one could see?
Yes, of course. We do these sessions, like the one that you're on today. The way that it kind of goes is like, we do our marketing, or you see an ad, or someone tells you about us or whatever, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go see what these guys are talking about. And you come on this session. This session's purpose is like, do these guys know what the heck they're talking about? Is this interesting enough to go see the software and get a test drive? And so our test drive is the demo process. It's like a Zoom session like this that goes about an hour, and they walk you through all the different software stuff, the front end, the back end, all the things that we connect, how it all works, all the plans, all the pricing, all the everything. And you can do that one of 2 ways. You can request a demo on our website, which is you fill out a form and someone will call you, or we do these group sessions that are kind of like these, and they're going to be doing a couple of them this week. I know one's tomorrow. I think one's Wednesday, one's Thursday, probably one's Friday. So if you're more comfortable doing it that way, you could jump onto one of those too.
So the group things are that you demo the website?
Yes. Yeah. The whole packaged plan, website, back end, all the community, all the support, all of it. Yeah.
Well, aside from all the samples of work, wouldn't you also want a curriculum vitae or some kind of background?
Yeah. So really, to get started, like, all you need is the images that you want to sell. The CV or the artist statement or the About Me goes in the About Me page, and that's it. That's literally all you need. And then boom, we get it up. Most websites get live in like 7 to 10 days, and then immediately you're into your first marketing initiative.
And so if one were to, you might email me and say there's a group thing.
Yeah. Well,
and then, I would go on the group thing, and then I would see a website that you've done. Is that right?
You would see all of it. Yeah. Like
all of it.
The front ends of the website, the back ends, how we handle the prints, how the orders come in, what the email stuff looks like, what our private Facebook group, all of it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So Annie's asking, or Molly's asking, agree with Annie, cost for newbies. Yeah. So on the demo, they'll go over the plans and packages. The range is roughly what I said. We are nowhere near the most inexpensive option out there. We never have been. We never will be. And there's a reason for that. We believe that artists and photographers need to be successful. And everything that we do as a business is attempt to provide you guys with the resources that it's going to take to get you there. And so that's why we charge what we charge. And there's literally an army of people that are going to support your entire artistic journey for the rest of your life. Like I said, we've got customers that have been with us, some of them for 5 and 6 years, 7 years, even some of them. And nothing ever changes. You're getting supported throughout your entire journey, and it will never stop. It'll never, ever stop, because that's what it takes. Katie's asking, let me get this down, this up. Oh, that's wrong. This one. Once you design the website, who owns it? Georgia, you own it. We don't own anything. The artist in question owns all of it. Your website, your contacts, your merchant account, we help you set all this stuff up. But an order comes in, the printer gets paid, you get paid. If it's an original, you get paid, and that's it. We're not even involved in any of those transactions. The marketing portion of our service, Annie, is we're starting it out with Social Copilot, and then we're going to eventually get into Revenue Copilot. And Social Copilot is essentially a bunch of social media updates, and I believe we're starting out with 30 posts a month on Facebook and Instagram that we will do for you. And then I think we're slated for a March 1st launch date, if I'm not correct, on the revenue portion of Copilot, and that's where we're going to run sales for you as well. So that's what it consists of. And we teach you, Katie's asking like, well, what about gathering emails? Like, yeah, we teach you that all year long. We've been teaching that all year long, forever and ever and ever, right? So that's what we teach you doing all year long. And good news, once we start doing some of this marketing and once we build your website and once we maintain it, you actually have more time to work on figuring out how to capture more and more emails. But yeah, we teach you, we basically put you through like, well, the learning really never stops, but we teach you how to email, run sales, how to do your pricing, what lineup of work you need, how to ask for commissions, how to do in-person shows and fairs, how to run live art shows. Like the education is really quite robust, and it's literally never ending. It just does not stop. It just keeps going and going and going, because that's what it takes. I mean, I look at a career that I've had in digital marketing, especially in the sheer speed at which it is changing now is so staggering. I mean, to try and think that you could keep your head wrapped around all of it. Like, for instance, Instagram has now overtaken Facebook as the #1 platform. And so things are now more important on Instagram than they are on Facebook. Is Facebook still important? Yes, it is, because the higher demographic, the older demographic purchases more work than the younger demographic, right? And TikTok came onto the scene. And while TikTok is completely worthless for artists and photographers trying to sell anything, it is had Instagram change its tune. And so Instagram released Instagram Reels, and all of a sudden Instagram Reels became the biggest thing. And now they've pulled back on that. They're constantly moving the goalposts out there. They really are. And it's very, very difficult to stay up to date on what the latest and greatest best practices are. And the good news is that we take care of all that for you. And it's equally important getting you guys to focus on the right things as it is getting you to ignore all the wrong ones, all the stupid shiny objects that everyone always tells you, oh, this is a great idea, come over here and try this. And then you go and invest 20 hours learning the thing and nothing changes in your business because it was a shiny object, right? It was a shiny object. Yes, LL, you're a current customer. You'll find out, you'll find out shortly. And Doug's like, I don't like being a pest asking my friends and relatives to buy my artworks. Yeah, we know. No one does. That's usually how it starts, though, Doug, and then it expands out from there, right? Like, early on, we'll take any help that we can get, friends, family, or whoever. But you know what friends and family will do? They'll like and share and comment, and that generally helps things out. So, don't be soon to dismiss them, right? They still play a valuable role, friends and family, in getting your business out there and getting the word out and all of those good things. So that's what I would say there. But who else, guys? Questions? I'm going to keep scrolling through the chat and see if any. There's one down. Yep, Katie. So she's asking about print on demand and how that works. So we're integrated with three printers, I should say. We have the printer on the West Coast, printer on the East Coast, and then we have a merchandise partner. And so the minute that you sign up with us, you're instantly integrated with the partners of your choice. And, within 24 hours, you're able to offer just about any media type you like, any size you like. Yes, there's frames, although not many people sell framed art online. Not just us, not that many people, period. So framing is sort of a different subject. But yes, you have the ability to sell frame prints as well as all of the merchandise. You don't have to come out of pocket a dime for any of that. It's all print on demand, which means no minimum order quantity, no having to hold inventory. You get an order, you get paid, printer gets paid, printer prints it, boxes it, slaps your logo on the side of the box, ships it. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to send an email. You don't have to do anything. But we do encourage our customers to follow up with their customers and say, hey, your print arrived. Did it look good? Are you happy? And that's for prints, obviously, and merchandise, but we don't include that on, or we can't do that on originals, right? You guys obviously have to ship your originals. So that's a thing. LL, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to package it all up. You'll find out in this customer workshop in a couple of weeks. So I don't know how that's all going to go. And some people over like the last 3 months have like, this is supposed to be for people that are interested in art storefronts that haven't signed up. And you could see just by virtue of the fact that it's a new feature, our current customers are like, what's the new feature? I want to come on. I want to know. And it's been really funny over the last 3 months because we constantly are irritating our current customers a little bit because they'll sign up and then 2 weeks later we're like, we're building your website for you. And everyone that signed up a month ago is like, do you know how long I was working on building that website? And now you're building it for everyone, but the large and the small of it is like when you sign up and you've been around for any period of time, you realize the sheer speed at which we are iterating and improving the product and becoming a better business and giving those features to absolutely everyone without having to pay another dime has been staggering, and it will continue to be staggering. So that's really, really like important. No, Francis, our system automatically includes shipping into the charging. She's asking about shipping fees. The beautiful thing about art and wall art specifically is it has not, as of yet, been Amazonified. What do I mean by that? Amazonified, I mean the expectation that when you buy wall art is not that it ships for free. People still understand they have to pay for shipping. They're not expecting it to get it for free. Now, some people take the approach that I just want to include free shipping and just have that bundled in, and that's a particular technique or tactic that you can use. I don't advocate you do. I think you just, and some people even use it as a profit center, meaning you can set shipping markups on top of normal shipping. So like, let's say you say charge 15% additional on shipping, and then the next thing you know, every time you get a shipping charge, you have 15% additional profit built into that. I don't recommend that either. I think just take the shipping and whatever it is the customer pays for the shipping, and that's that, right? And then you can be completely transparent with them and say like, hey, this is what we charge to ship. This is what the shipping is going to be. Boom. And they see that right when they check out, and it's a non-issue. Like, and thank God for this. Because if Amazon ruined this too, like we'd be in it, right? Because sometimes shipping originals is expensive. I mean, you can, especially if you really have to box them and crate them and do the whole thing. So there's that. Go ahead, Annie.
Hi.
Hi.
Quick question.
Yes.
And I know that I have a lot more. I just went to your website and I was just curious because I wanted to see an actual site that you had designed.
Yes.
And the only person that I see on there is somebody who she kind of does more like services, like she advertises her gallery, but she's your featured artist. I can't even remember her name, but she's more or less like, I think basically more kind of marketing her classes. And I wanted to see what you basically have designed for somebody else who actually does original work, not stuff that's going to be printed. And I'm sorry, but I was a little distracted when you were talking about shipping, like how that would work. We incorporate our prices into, or is it plus shipping? Because you have something that's 12-inch by 12-inch versus something that's 4 foot by 5 foot. How is that going to work?
You would set it.
We could actually see a site.
Yeah. I'll answer the shipping, and then I'll do the sites too. The shipping is really, really easy, actually. If you've got originals, they're one of one. You just set what the shipping should be in your price, and it passes it on to the consumer. And normally how that works, like let's say you're in California, right? And okay, you're selling from California. Some orders you're going to get are going to be to California, Oregon, or Washington, and the shipping's not going to be expensive. And then some are going to be to New York, and the shipping's going to be a little bit more expensive, right? So how do you do that? We just have a formula that gives you like a good way to calculate shipping on average, right? And on some of them you lose, and on some of them you profit, and in the end it always balances out. And so it just passes directly to the consumer. So they'll add the item to their cart, they'll look and see what the shipping charges, they'll check out, they'll get charged. On some of them you might lose a couple of bucks, on some of them you'll make a couple of bucks, and in the end it usually washes out. And so that's how we recommend that. In terms of the website, I can send you links to a bunch of different ones. The thing that's really interesting about what we do, what we figured out, like sort of in our history here, is artists and photographers. Okay, and this is a long way of going about saying all of our websites, customer websites, look almost identical. There's a few different themes, subtle little differences here or there, but more or less they all look the same, and they all look the same for a reason. This is a really, really important point that almost all artists and photographers get completely wrong. And you have to like utterly, totally, and completely invert your thinking on this, but I love talking about it because I think it's such a profound lesson. The single solitary best way to buy art or photography in the real world is what? It's going into an art gallery, right? That's the paradigm that everyone understands. And when you look at an art gallery anywhere in the world, what do you notice about all of them? Almost all of them are the same. White walls, zero distractions, art on a wall with a frame properly lit, right? And that is like the paradigm of how we as consumers understand to purchase art. You could say a museum is the same thing, right? And so all of our websites are specifically designed to attempt to replicate that buying experience as much as possible. So the websites are minimalist. There is no flashy colors. There's no moving things. There's no automatic playing audio. There's no slideshows. There is none of that nonsense. And reason being, you want to replicate as close as possible the art gallery buying experience. We're not attempting to reinvent the wheel. Art and photography has been sold for centuries. All we're attempting to do is take that in-person buying experience and get the real-world experience as close as possible. And so all of our sites are minimalist. And what I'll do occasionally is like, I have software that will, when you sign up for our email list, it'll go and find out what your social things are and put it in a spreadsheet for me. And I'll inevitably like go up and down and look at artists and photographers' websites. And what do you end up seeing? Colors and animations and different design blocks and this and stupid videos. And it's like, if I even get to the art, it's a miracle. You don't understand how little time you have. People are distracted. You need to get them into the buying experience, let the art speak front and center, and everything else should just fade to the background. It should be simple and minimalist. I almost recommend all sites are white. For some people, you can do black. And so I can show you a bunch of different templates, but they all look very, very similar.
And that's fine. And I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that presentation. But I had a few more questions. So like, say for instance, something sells.
Yeah.
Is that something like, you want to mark sold on your site? Is that something you do? Is that something we do?
Now,
like,
you're cooking.
How does that work?
Now you're cooking with gas. Now you're cooking with gas.
How do we update? Yeah. How do we update our site? And then, talking about the marketing, when I'd asked the question, like, how are you driving people to our site? Because I noticed, like, say for instance, like on my feed on Insta or on Facebook, I got directed at you because of maybe some searches that I did, cookies, whatever the case is. So I've got drove to you, but I didn't necessarily get driven to a particular artist. Right. How are you driving people to particular artists and not just to you?
We're not at all. So we're not a marketplace in the sense that like everyone's art is on one site. Everyone has their own website with us, right? And you're responsible for driving the traffic to your website, which is why we exist. We teach you to do that all year long, right? And hence the Copilot feature, which helps out a little bit with that. But in terms of the sold, I love where you're at, and I don't know if I have one or if I'll find it on his site. I'm just picking one for instance, and let's just see. Does he have his originals on here? I don't know if he does or if he doesn't. The sold sticker appears automatically on an original. I'm trying to think who would have it. I know. Let me see. All right, let's see if this pulls it up. She's got them all over, I think. But the funny thing, and by the way, she's breaking all she's the one that she's breaking all the rules. By the way, she's like are not standard. But I know I want to show you the sold button on one.
She's your featured artist on your site right now. That's why she's the one. That's where I went to look.
Yeah, she's one of them. She's one of them. So I just want to see whether or not she's got the sold sticker on any of them. Yeah, of course. Normally I'm capable of having these things on demand. Art on paper wouldn't have that, would it? But yes, I'll send you a list after this of a bunch of sites that you can look at, and I'll show you some ones in question. But yes, the idea is that the minute that it's sold, you see a sold sticker on it. And guess what? Where else does that take place? You ever go to a gallery opening night when they put the little red dot next to the thing because it's sold? All we do is copy that identically again. And to be honest with you, I feel like I can be honest with you here. Will we early on encourage maybe a couple of pieces of work that are already sold to go up onto your website with the sold sticker? Absolutely. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Absolutely. Like if you're working at a coffee shop and you have a tip jar, or you're busking on the street and you have a tip jar, you got to put a couple dollars in that thing, right? You got to grease the skids a little bit. So yes, the point is it's absolutely a very important psychological thing, right? Like, you want to show that the work is sold and you want to show the past success, and that's critically important. So if you came in and you're like, should I put these other 6 pieces? They already sold. Yes, put them up. Put this sold sticker on them.
So I haven't even actually created my business account on Insta or anything like that. So I have no followers. I'm not following anybody.
Yep.
What do you propose for people who are basically really just kind of starting out, and you're saying, well, we have to drive people to our own website. How are we I know that you give us like little things like you should be posting and doing this, but how am I going to get an audience?
Number one, you're going to come to terms with the fact that the first year is absolutely going to suck. You're not going to like it. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be hard because you don't have any of that attention and you don't have any of that following. But if you don't get started on it now, it's never going to just materialize out of thin air, right? So everyone starts somewhere. We've got a bunch of different tips and tricks and tactics and little devices that'll help you out along the way. And in the beginning, it sucks. When you're starting from 0 to 1, it's the hardest. And when I say sucks, like, let me just put that into context for you. The first year will be a grind, okay? And anyone that tells you that it won't be is lying to you. There's no special formula. There's no 6-step plan to Facebook ads that will explode your business in 24 hours. Buy my course. All of that is bullshit. You have to build your audience, and it takes time. Now, we teach you how to do it both in the physical world and in the digital world, and you just have to start in on it, know that it's going to take you some time, and we'll keep you on the path. And as long as you do the work and we do the work that we can do, you'll go from 0 followers to 100 followers. And then the next thing you know, you wake up and you have 500. The next thing you know, you'll have 100 on your email list. And the next thing you know, you'll have 5,000. And that's just how it goes. And that grind doesn't ever stop.
And so essentially you would say that your expertise is also going to be in navigating the ever-changing algorithms on these types of sites like Instagram and Facebook?
Just general marketing, period. Yeah. That's literally the reason that we exist as a business and that we've been as successful as we are. It's just none of you guys know how to market, and we do, and that's what we teach you all year long. Never stops.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for answering the questions, Annie. And I do love that dog.
He's Fonzie.
Fonzie. Cutie.
Fonzie.
Cutie. Oh, wait. Hold on. I don't have you up on the screen, so no one else can see your dog. There's Fonzie. I'm a dog person. I love the dogs. Thanks, Annie. All right. John said they've had your questions answered. I think that's it. Have I dealt with all the questions? Do we have any more? Yep, I got you. And I'm dying to know. I feel like your name could be Japanese, but it might not be Japanese. You certainly don't look Japanese. Are you Japanese, Ario? I can't tell. And you'll have to unmute. Hit your mic icon. I'll let you know when you get it. Bottom left-hand corner, like right there, you just click it once, and that'll unmute you. Gotcha.
All right. Yeah, my last name sounds Japanese, but I'm not Japanese.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't look Japanese.
No, I'm from Iran.
Oh, you're Persian. Nice.
Yeah, but I have been in the United States for 44 years.
Got it.
Yeah. Well, Mr. James, the sculptor, I say hello to everybody first. Asked the question about putting his sculptures. I am a sculptor and I'm a painter and a printer.
Okay.
So I can put all those work on the site.
Absolutely.
And then as far as selling the sculptures and stuff, I have to deal with the shipping and stuff myself, or the...
Yeah, we can't ship for you. We don't have that technology just yet. But what we can do is advise you on how to set your shipping up, right? In terms of originals, the artist, it's always going to be incumbent upon the artist to ship those, and there's sadly nothing we can do about that. But that's no different than the situation you're in currently, right?
Right. Is this well? I do ship my stuff, so I don't mind doing it. But the point that you raise is that shipping should be included in the work, so you don't have to go.
No. My point is, Amazon ruined the entire world in terms of shipping.
I heard that.
Yeah. Yes. So what's great is that the expectation when you purchase art is not that you get free shipping. So it hasn't translated to art yet. The meaning is I've got 8,500 customers, all of them charge for shipping, and no one ever complains about it. So it's not going to hurt you, right? So you don't have to stress about it. Like, you're going to just charge shipping, the buyer is going to pay, and that's that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. And Mr. Joy, the other artist raised that he had a website, and I have a website. My website, actually, the person who runs it is in Canada. And the reason I'm here now is that because I'm moving my studio from Michigan to New Mexico.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get ready for getting involved with your company. So I'm just trying to understand what process I have to go through. My problem is that besides doing art, I do theater and I travel a lot. And when we're talking about consistency.
Really hard,
How far you have to go, you know, I mean, I understand it, you know, first of all, I'm sold out in my painting. I don't have any painting to sell. So I have my customers, but I'm trying to see if I can, I used to do prints that I stopped it because of traveling. So when I go to New Mexico, I'm gonna actually start with my print back. Good. So when it comes to really looking for customers and every day put something on Instagram and all these things, I have an Instagram and I only have one pieces of work on it, you know.
Yeah.
And my website has only my sold paintings because I don't have anything.
Yep.
I just have a page of it that says I'm working on this piece and I'm working on that piece.
Right.
I'm a little bit afraid that that if I have to do things every day, then I miss out on other things too, you know. Like, for example, when I go to New Mexico, I have to get a studio and then I usually build them myself the way I want it, you know. So that takes a lot of time. So how much time you really think about putting in this consistency, which
there's no magical formula, one size works for all thing, right? I think what I found, you know, seeing and I would say 80% of our customer base has full-time jobs. 20% are full-time artists in whatever capacity that is, right? Everything from, you know, photographers that are working photographers trying to sell their fine art prints to, you know, other various different revenue sources, like they teach classes like we were looking at with the other gal. So 20% are full-time, 80% are not. And the magic question I always get asked is how many hours a week, right? How many hours a week? And there is no magical formula. Like, there is no magical formula. What my position is that you come up with the hours that you do have that you can invest in it, and you do it consistently all year long. If you're like, I've got 3 hours a week, then give me 3 hours a week and watch what happens when you do 52 weeks worth. That's how the business actually changes, right? Nothing like everyone's like, no, well, I can't do that. I can't put 10 hours in. Don't put 10 hours in. We all have our lives. We get that. You put in what you can put in. We're going to make sure that the hours that you do have are maximized on the things that are going to actually change your business. You just have to do them consistently, right? Again, that buzzword, but it's the whole ball game.
Right. So my other question is, as Mr. Joy said, that we have to get rid of our website and start with you guys. My question is, by the time I get to New Mexico, it's going to be in the middle of summer. So should I just keep my website and go to a storefront in summer, or should I start now?
It's impossible as a salesman not to say get started now, right? Like, of course you would want to get started now, but it's up to you, right? Like, whatever you feel like is best for you. I mean, the good news though, again, is that you don't have to build the website at all. All you do is you just give us the images and we build it, right? So all of that will all be taken care of for you. But I also understand how damn stressful a move is, and so I get that too. So you have to make that decision. I can't make that decision for you. We're here to support you regardless. That's what I would say.
Right. I'd like to go with the storefront if I have at least 5 images that are ready to be printed. They are already photographed and all that. So I'm thinking about maybe just start with that while I'm doing my work for moving, because I don't have to do anything, as you say.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And you know, again, don't take this cynically, but the thing that I always see the artists and photographers saying, you know, all the ones that I talk to on these calls, like, I'll just get started when I get my business account set up, or I'll just get started when I know what my brand is, or I'll just get started when I complete 15 pieces, right? Or I'll just get started when I know what my niche is. And whether you sign up with us or not, what ends up happening is the hours turn into days, turn into weeks, turn into months, turn into years, and nothing ever changes in their business, right? So the thing is that it's never going to be perfect. You'll never not be embarrassed right when it launches. There's like the guy that started LinkedIn has this famous quote, and his quote is, "If you're not embarrassed by your first version, you've launched too late," right? And underpinning that is like, you just have to get started. You have to get started and start taking the positive steps, right? Like every little bit of work that can get done is just going to make you more and more and more prepared, when you finally do get to where you're going. And your business shouldn't stop just because you have life events going on. It should still be moving forward every single solitary day. So that's how I answer that.
Good point. Good point. I'm thinking if it's possible, I can get the link of your printers that you have.
Yep.
And I can see their work and see what I can go about.
Yep. Bay Photo is the one that we use on the West Coast. They're massive. And then the one on the East Coast doesn't have like a retail presence. So, there's like, it only prints for like institutions. And so it doesn't know. But, the dirty little secret with printers these days, and I get in trouble for saying this sometimes, but I started out in this industry when the very first G-Clay printer came out, the very first inkjet printer came out, right? I've watched the industry evolve. Our founder started a company called Breathing Color, which is one of the biggest media manufacturers in the United States, entire world actually. And where we are now in 2023 with printing, everyone has the same computers, the same color calibration machines, the same printers with the same inks. They're using the same media types, and they're using all the rest of the same finishing equipment. So the art form that was early stage G-Clay printing is now a completely level playing field. And really the comparison, aside from customer service, between one printer and another printer is who buys ink by the barrel. Who ships $50 million worth of art a year? Because what ends up happening is the company that buys ink by the barrel, buys paper by the barrel, buys paper by the pallet, gets cheaper prices on that stuff. And the company that ships more, the printer that ships more, gets better rates at FedEx and gets better rates at UPS. And so there's literally no rationale. Not like everyone's like, well, what about the quality? Like everyone's using the same stuff. You can use, they have all the same media types. You can choose the Hahnemuhle stuff, choose the Breathing Color stuff, choose whatever kind you want. It will come out amazing. It will get boxed and shipped. And the beautiful thing is that when you use these big print outfits like we do, your Bay Photo, and then the one we use on the East Coast, which is called Graphic Dimensions, they do such volume that if anything happens, print gets damaged, the box falls off the truck, there's a blemish in it or whatever. It used to be back in the day that would be like, well, have your customer take photos of that and then send us the photos of it. And what we'll do is we'll get back to you. And they don't even care anymore. If something happens, they just go, no problem, dispose of the print, new one's on its way. You don't lift a finger. It's all just done. Because they're doing it in such bulk, like to even contemplate trying to ship that thing back. Nah, doesn't matter. Boom, let me take care of it, done. So the printing is just, it's an utter, total, and complete non-issue. And the fact that we've gotten from where we started, having to hold inventory, having to go see the local printer, having to box it up, send the tracking. The fact you don't have to do any of that anymore. There's no minimums. You don't even have to be involved in the transaction. You get the order, it prints, it ships, you don't touch anything. Is one of the best things that's happened in this industry ever. Because instantaneously, you can go from having a store with just 5 images in it, like yours does when it's going to launch, and instantaneously you have 80 products in the store because you have all the different sizes on 5 different media types for those prints. That's game changing, right? And then instantaneously, you can also be offering merchandise. And selling merchandise is one of like the single solitary most important things an artist or a photographer can do. And I say this, and there's certain people inside my company that get like very nervous and insecure, but I'll just come out and say it because I shoot from the hip. Selling wall art is a crappy business. You want to know why it's a crappy business? Because not everybody is ready to buy wall art all the time. Some people are just not ready. And that might be the moment when your marketing message reaches them. And so here's this incredible work you have. They really like it, but they're not interested in wall art right now. And so you only have wall art to sell. They leave. And they don't ever remember you ever again. Those are what the rules say. And like a different way to think about it is like, do you know when like our mattresses wear out and we know we need to get a new mattress? At that point in time, you're switched on to what's going on with the mattress. You know what sales are going on. You know which ones you're getting. You're researching it, and then you're going to go and buy one. Once you're done, Nobody knows what's going on with the mattresses. Nobody cares. Nobody's following up on it. You don't know what sales going on. You ignore it because you're not in the market for a mattress at that moment, right? And so when you're an artist and you're a photographer and you're out there marketing and you now have non-wall art as a part of your lineup, what ends up happening is somebody sees you, follows you on Instagram, email address, however it works. They want to purchase something from you and they're not ready to buy wall art. Well, you sold them some merchandise and they took that home with them, which means a credit card transaction happened. You got an email address and you now have somebody to market to. Oh, better still, that person now has a tote bag or a cell phone case or coasters or a photo book or whatever merch you decide to sell. They now have your artwork in their house 365 days a year. So when they are ready to buy wall art, who do you think they're going to think about? They're going to think about you because they've been looking at your work every single solitary day. And this is one of the things that most artists and photographers fail to understand, and it is such a game changer. And everyone's like, pushes back on me all the time, like, I'm not selling merch. Why would I sell? That stuff is cheap. It's low margin. How am I going to make any money on it? I'm a fine artist. I would never stoop to that level, right? When's the last time any of you guys went into a museum that didn't have a gift shop?
Exactly.
Don't worry, I'll wait, right? And so you realize, like, case in point, this gentleman that I ran the sale for that I was talking about on Friday, he was driving to Mexico, I ran the sale. He made 6 sales, 4 of them were from merchandise, right? Those are 4 customers that he's now acquired, that he can now market to, that have an item of his in their hand. And the numbers are just maths. The hardest thing to do is get a new customer. The easiest customer to get is the one that you already have. In order to get a collector, someone has to order more than 2 pieces of work. It's just a numbers game. It's just a numbers game, right? And I always ask artists and photographers, I'm like, how many new customers did you acquire in your business last year? And almost no one can answer the question right away unless you've sold nothing. But the ones that do know are like, oh, I've acquired 7, or, I acquired 12, or maybe I acquired 20, right? You sold 20 pieces. And it's like, that sounds awesome and everything else, but do you know what my goal is for you? 2 a day. 2 a day. Every day, 365 days a year. That is an impossibility when you're just selling wall art. But when you add these other products to your store, and again, I don't care what they are, as long as they're under $100 and as long as they are not wall art. You look at the business over like a 3 or 4 or 5 year arc, right? And you're in year 3. Someone bought a tote bag from you year 1. Year 3, they just bought their vacation house and they're like, okay, I need art. And they come to you and you get a sale for like $14,000, right? That sale doesn't happen if you did not acquire them as a customer. It just doesn't happen. And so you realize that, like, when you teach these artists and photographers to play a numbers game and acquire as many customers as you want, and it doesn't matter because you just have to get them in the door, then that's when you realize I have to take my lineup very seriously. I need to have art on my site priced from 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, and 1,000 plus. When I do, I am casting the widest net out of the back of my boat as I possibly could. I'm going to catch more fish. And then if I do that consistently year after year after year, these people are going to come back and buy again and again and again. I built a career off of running digital ads, right? And I can only get your attention with those digital ads when you're on Facebook or when you're on Instagram or when you're on the web, right? When those devices are off, so is my ability to get your attention. And I like look at the calendars, for instance, right? Like, a calendar to me represents a Facebook ad that I can staple on your kitchen wall 365 days a year. And I can't do that. I can't do that with an ad, even no matter how good I am, right? Like if you buy a tote bag and all of a sudden you're going to the farmer's market every single solitary weekend and throwing vegetables in the tote bag with your art on it, that person is more likely to come back and purchase an original from you at a very high ticket when they're ready. And that's it. That's the ballgame. That was a very long-winded answer to your question, Arya, but there we go.
Right. If you have time and I don't bother other artists, is there any people in your company that are specialized in printing matter part of the cell, that they can suggest whether it should be limited edition or
we do all that for you.
Sizes
We do all that for you. Every single solitary artist needs prices from, I'll go through this very quickly because it's very easy, 0 to 100, 100 to 1,000, 1,000 plus. You need non-wall art as a part of the lineup. Okay, we know all that. So knowing that that's the case, you then have to ask yourself, how do I solve for that equation, right? Well, the 0 to 100 is really easy because the merchandise fills in that. The smaller paper prints fills into that. When you get up over 100, then you have your prints on various different media types. You have a fine art paper, you have a canvas, you have metal, you have acrylic, and even wood. I encourage our customers to own wood. Wood actually sells well. So your various different sizes instantaneously cover, and your media types cover $100, $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700. Then when you start getting closer to 1,000, then you can get into limited editions. We encourage everyone to do limited editions. There's a bunch of different ways to do that. And then up above 1,000 is where your originals are, right? So that's like a rough framework for how we do it. Everyone has to adjust a little bit to taste because everyone's pieces are a little bit different. But that's the ball game. And you know, the rationale for this, I've explained the merch portion, and everyone, like, once they wrap their head around that, they're like, oh my God, that's so smart. That's so true, right? But the pricing is just as important. Like, pricing is one of the most difficult issues for artists in a number of different ways. How do I raise my prices? How do I set my prices? Getting paralyzed when someone lowballs you on something. And what you realize is that when you set the proper range of pricing, number one, you are equipped to register a sale from anywhere in the socioeconomic bell curve. Low socioeconomic status, lower middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals, the bell curve. You need to have prices for everyone on there so that you can generate sales for all of those folks, right? Very, very, very important. But also, when you have the pricing properly set up, and we don't just teach you what items to do and how to do the range, we also teach you how to do the markups. We usually recommend about a 250% markup relative to your wholesale cost. Then, because your stuff is properly marked up, when it comes time to run a sale or promotion, you can offer 5, 10, 15, 20% off, and you're not killing your margins. You're still making plenty of money, right? So we teach you how to do all of that, how to handle the limited editions, how to go through it, and then you just kind of adjust it to taste. But the amazing thing that happens is, like, when you have a range of pricing and you have an original that you worked hours and hours and hours on that you're going to sell for like $2,500, and somebody sends you a message, oh, that thing's great. I'll give you $200 for it. And what do you instantaneously do? You're like, you ungrateful little twit. How dare you? You know how many hours I spent on that thing? And now, instead of getting angry, you go, no, I won't sell that to you for $200, but let me just steer you to the portion of my line where there are $200 things. And you just slot that Yahoo right in front of the $200 thing. But the reality is, what ends up happening is, like, when you have the proper range of pricing, it's like this magical cure-all. Like, people stop lowballing you. Because the reason that they did the lowball offer is they don't have any damn idea how much time it took you, your time and materials, your talent, all the rest of it. They just didn't understand because there wasn't a range of pricing. And when you have it, they're like, I can't afford that. I'm going to go ahead and go here, right? Or that's why that costs so much money, because I've been properly stepped up in the process. So we help you with all that. So important. So important.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Arya. Where I grew up in Southern California, I have like a whole slew of Persian buddies, and I learned all of the Farsi swear words like at the same time I was learning all the English swear words, and we would sometimes switch to Farsi when you know, to be able to get away with saying those naughty things. I still know them all to this day, and I'm not going to be saying them, Ario, but I speak a little Farsi, all the bad stuff, Okay, guys, who else? Questions? Yep. I got you, John. And then I'm going to have to get out of here in a minute. I'm going to go join Carl in the bar there. He's got a glass of wine in his hand, and the TV on in the background looks pretty good. Cheers. Yeah, go ahead, John.
So I have a couple of questions.
Please.
How many people work at your company? Or how many people are doing all this marketing?
It's a very, very good question. I would say, I think we're up to 300, maybe 350, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the initial layout, $1,600 or something, you were saying?
Yes.
In the banner that I saw when I first started into this today, it said you do the website's free.
Yeah.
So the cost of the initial buy-in is for what exactly?
So the easiest way to think about it is the monthly fee is what you pay just to have the website up, running, and ready. The one-time buy-in is just tuition to get into the university. That's how I think about it. And the tuition to get into the university goes to pay the army of folks that's going to support you for the rest of your art selling career. Pay it one time and that's it.
And there are ranges in that 15, 16 up to 3,500.
Yes, there's a couple of bells and whistles on the upper end, and then also, you know, we find that like there's this crazy phenomenon where people really want to make like a serious commitment, and it's sort of their subtle way of burning the boat, right? Like, you know, you look at all our competitors out there, and it's like when you have a website that's $19.99 a month or $29 a month or, you know, $100 a year, you don't care about that. That's just a bill that you can write off. So if you're not going to do any work this month, you're like, whatever. It's only $19 a month, right? We get some people that are buying 10-year plans with us, and that's their way of saying, I'm burning the boat. I am going to make it at this no matter what happens. And they're including all these different years, and so they get like breaks on the price and such. And so that's what some of the bigger plans are. And then there's also some people don't have an Instagram account set up. Some people don't have a Facebook account set up. So some people pay to have all that stuff done for them. So there's some other stuff in there, but they could show you all of that on a demo, and they know all the real prices. I don't know them as intimately as the outreach guys do and gals.
Okay, I'll worry about that when I get to the demo.
Yeah.
The only other thing I'm curious about is the percentages on like, so we decide what the price is going to be together.
Yes.
And then you have obviously some suggestions about what those things should be.
Yes.
And then you guys get a percentage of the sale, correct?
Depends on what plan you're on. And this puts me in such an unenviable position because we are constantly working on our offering. And I think we have eliminated transaction fees if I'm not certain on a couple of our plans. And then I think on the bottom one, I think there are still transaction fees on it, but they'll be able to answer that for you on the demo too. I want to say that they don't exist anymore on the top plan, so there is no transaction fee.
All right, and then I guess the only other thing is I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
Most of my work is done on film sets and TV shows that I can't sell anything from,
which is a huge bummer.
But I have other things like landscapes and music photography that I do that but I'll always be trying to find the next thing that I think is going to sell well.
Yes.
Do you have, spreadsheets, databases of things that people like to buy?
So you're speaking to the choir, and by the way, you'd be surprised how much of a hot button issue this is for us. Massively so, right? Because what we find is the reason that we're growing and successful as a business is because we're offering what's never existed, and what's never existed is not the history of photography or an art history class, but how do you actually take a creative passion and turn it into something resembling a business, right? And when you've been at this for a number of years, and then when you've actually had time to study everything, you start to realize that all of the greats were constantly pivoting and trying new subject material all the time, right? And you're constantly looking for something to make whatever you were previously doing even better, right? And so this notion of pivoting and trying new subject material is so important. And what everyone does, photographers, artists included, is they're like, and the analogy I give is like it's archery, right? And then I'll back it up with some stats. Everyone's like, this is my work here. This is my arrow. And it's what creatively fulfills me. And it's what I love doing. It's what I've been doing the entire time. And they grab the arrow and they draw it back and they aim for the target, right? No one hits a bullseye in the first time. A lot of times people miss the target entirely, or maybe you're in the outskirts of the target and you have a product that you can sell, but it's only gonna generate $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 worth of revenue. So you do constantly need to be trying the new subject material and new things, right? And then, by the way, you dig into the stats and you realize Pablo Picasso, when he died, had 45,000 unsold works in his inventory. What do you think that guy was doing? Trying new things all the time, and some of them failed miserably. And so he's constantly working on doing the next hit. So one of the things that we teach you to do is reverse engineer it, okay? And what do I mean reverse engineer it? Instead of, here's an idea for something I'm going to create. I'm going to go create it and then go take and find a market and see if I can sell it into the market. Well, when you reverse engineer it and you start with the end, you start with a market of diehard people, and you're like, I'm going to go create something for them because there's a market for diehard people, and then you go and create it and sell it, and it fundamentally changes the game. For instance, Green Bay Packers fans are known to buy their body weight in Green Bay Packer related swag on a yearly basis, right? So a way of doing it is like, here's 6 or 7 different Facebook groups and a site on the internet on Reddit where all these diehard Green Bay Packers fans are. Go and create some Green Bay Packer art, however you would do that, and go post it in the group and see if you get any bites, right? When you start doing exercises like that is when you come up with a lot of these ideas. When you have a commissions button on your site, okay, whether you ever have any desire to take commissions or not, you have people that are like, hey, I really like your style, but what I really want is not what you've created. Could you do this? That's a great way to generate ideas as well. But we actually have, we call it a niche course. We have like an in-depth course that walks you through all these little different techniques and tactics that we have to do that. So I appreciate you saying that, and you're on the right track with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, John. All right, go ahead, Betty Ann. Yep, just get that mic on. I'll let you know when you get it. And it should be in the bottom left-hand corner. And you just click the mic one time, Betty Ann.
Can you hear me?
I sure can.
Okay, good. I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first is I have an Zoom on anymore. I've worked with apples. What would you suggest?
What I'm going to do, Betty Ann, is I'm going to stop your video because I think it's making it so I can't hear you. You're having bandwidth issues. So let me see if that thing. Oh, I think she's frozen now. Oh, right. Yep, we lost her. We'll see if she comes back in. Who else, guys? Questions? Oh, Betty Ann's back. Okay, I'm going to unmute you again. Don't worry, Betty Ann.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have an extremely old computer.
Mm-hmm.
I need to upgrade. What do you suggest I upgrade it with?
I mean, this is the steak or chicken or Coke or Pepsi, right? It's up to you. They're all the same. PCs are generally a little bit cheaper than Apples are. You don't by any means need one or the other. It's just personal preference, really, at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is, I have a demo. Well, I'm coming in with an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very upfront with him about everything that you do for him.
Mm-hmm.
But he has a very busy schedule. So I'm kind of like his apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
I have a demo set up tomorrow with someone, and I think we'd prefer to work with someone else. Is that possible? And can I set the demo up for him and I tomorrow or the next day, whenever his schedule is clear?
Yeah. Do you know how to use the chat on here?
Yes.
Just throw your email address in the chat, and I'll take care of that.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, Vivian. And just make sure to type it in there so I can look you up. All right. Well, good session today. You guys let me rant and go through all my various different long-winded and verbose answers and stuck with me. So I appreciate all of you guys on all of that. If for any reason you want to rewatch this, the replay will, of course, be on Facebook and YouTube. It's the easiest way to just be able to go right back and see one. If you want to find out more information, do the guided tour. You have options. You can go onto the website, fill out the demo button. And Betty Ann, don't forget to throw your email address in the box because I still haven't seen it. And you can get a one-on-one tour. Or if you want to do like the group one like this, like I said, they're going to be running them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week. Probably around about the same time. Maybe there's one in the evening. So that's what I would say. Okay, Betty Ann, I got it. So yeah, that's what I would say. And you can find out more info. And other than that, see you on the socials, see you on the emails, and hope you guys all have an absolutely incredible week. Thanks, everybody.